Welcome to World Energy. I'm David Gross, consulting geologist with Donkel Oil and Gas, and today we're talking about Alaska. You've probably heard me discuss earlier about our Stinson East Point Thompson prospect up on the north slope of Alaska. Now that is on the northwestern portion of the ANWR area 102, and we're just to the east of Point Thompson. And if you know from the industry that Exxon is working that area very aggressively. Joining us today is Robert Klipping, consulting geophysicist, and Robert has over 50 years industry experience, starting originally with Pennzoil, working up through exploration management, and since 1980 consulting geologist in the Mid-Continent and in Alaska. Now Bob is going to talk to us about the geophysics and his mapping in the area with Stinson.
The first thing that we did, we acquired about 75 miles of 2D data, and which I have worked, and the quality of that data is excellent, especially for one of the key horizons, which is our basement reflector. The shallow information is somewhat questionable, but I feel that it's very workable. The interpretation turned up a very large anticlinal feature, and that feature is located on the Barrow Arch, and it is plunging to the southeast. So any faulting or structural closure to the northwest is very critical. So when you look at this basement map, you wrap around these contours and come all the way up here to the final closure, and that structure is some 18 miles long. The key well is the Stinson well, which of course had excellent oil shows, is located about 800 feet down dip from the crestal portion of this anomaly. The big question here at first was, do we have south dip? So I went through all of the key lines, which are these north-south lines, and the more I looked at it, the more convincing it became that this bounding high-angle reverse fault is definitely there. It's a fairly high-angle fault, but would be up on this side and down on that side. So that alone would provide closure for the entire anticlinal trend. Now the two key anomalies which are involved in the acreage also have critical dip into that fault zone. So you really don't need the fault, but it's there and it adds to the closure. To support that, I brought some seismic lines today.
Now the Stinson well, and that's the reason we're interested, is the one that actually tested 300 to 400 barrels of oil a day, and the engineers said that if the hole conditions were right, it was more like 700 to 800 barrels a day.
Yes.
So we know oil is here, we're just trying to figure out what it looks like and how much, right?
Today's prices, that rate is certainly commercial.
Line number 6 is running roughly to the northeast, southwest, and you said it's to the west of the well. And what did you see on it?
The well is situated approximately right here. This is going north, and you can see we're coming up dip on the data. This is the basement reflector. We have some minor faulting. This is the key anomaly area right in here, and you can see the steepness of the dip in this area, and now it's beginning to flatten out and almost rolling over on that line. Then the high angle reverse fault comes right up through here and drops that portion down to there.
Now this basement rock, I know it's Precambrian, and there's some question the sandstone / quartzite that they encountered in the Stinson well is the age determination is a little questionable, but that is actually where the test was that flowed the oil, correct? So
right.
This map you made is actually the test horizon.
That's the one, yes. And I think, the data on each and every one of these lines in and around these anomalies, you get a lot of interference patterns and diffractions in that basement complex, and generally those indicate fractures.
And that's an important point because, as you know, Donk Oil and Gas had an FMS study just recently completed on the Stinson well, and that actually showed extensive fracturing in there, and our engineer, geologist that analyzed it came up with several interesting zones down in the basement. So not only do we have the wellbore information and the core information showing fracturing, you're saying that the seismic data is supporting that interpretation of a highly fractured basement reservoir.
Right.
Donkel Oil and Gas also had an engineering analysis done on the Stinson prospect, and the engineer actually liked a horizon up in the base Eocene, and I believe that you mapped that also.
I did, yeah.
Could you show, shall we go to that map and take a look what that looked like? Now, once again, the yellow is the outline of the Donkel leases.
This is the outline of the Donkel acreage. Mm-hmm. This is the Arco Stinson well, which had very good shows in the base of the Eocene.
And that is most of the vast majority of the acreage. Now, I know that the USGS did a study of ANWR, and that is right on the southern side of the Donkel leases is the northern border of the ANWR area 1002, and actually we're up in the northwest portion. And I recently reviewed their 1999 report, 1998 report, and they were very interested in the northwest portion of ANWR, and they put 8 billion barrels of oil in that area with multiple plays. And it was very interesting that when they laid out their play maps, the first 6 plays all included the Stinson area, because they actually analyzed all the way out here to the northern portion of the leasehold of the state water. So they included the Stinson area in their analysis, and they put play map over play map over play map. So there might be other plays in this area. Now, one of the things the USGS study talked about, one of the plays in here was turbidite plays. Did you see anything in the data that you looked at that would be consistent with that type of interpretation?
I have seen some of that, and that would be this wedging, like in this section right in here where this is, well, you can even see it in here where the interval between these events are here and they fan out to there. Likewise from here, and it fans out and thickens in there. So there's a lot of added section in there.
And just to be clear, the Stinson well comes in where down in here as far as projecting onto this line? Where does the Stinson well project on?
It would project in right in there.
So basically the Stinson well itself never really saw this section over here that you were pointing out.
No, it was way down dip.
And so this is, the interesting section is up dip from the well.
The truncations would be all up dip, yeah.
So if we want to just do a real fast recap of what you saw here, you have 2 horizons that mapped out quite well and very interesting. The deeper basement that had the good oil test on it and actually flowed oil, and then the base Eocene sand that the Stinson well basically had pay assigned to it. And then you're seeing other plays up dip, not seen in the well, that matched what the USGS said we could expect in this area. Well, Bob, that's pretty exciting stuff. And so overall, what's your opinion of the Stinson play?
I think it's one of the better prospects that I've ever worked on. The size of it is incredible, and the quality of the data is good. And having a well down dip with that kind of oil in it, and you can get up dip, well, you can't ask for a better play.